They said that the unit wasn't properly tested. No, they already sold it before. The guy returned it because it was faulty, and they relisted it again and sold it to me. And they're telling me that it wasn't properly tested. This video was not supposed to be like this. I'm just trying to make videos about old iPod objects that nobody watches, and I got scammed on eBay. Yeah, I really did get scammed. And this is an eBay seller with almost 200,000 items sold. An enormous eBay seller. Not someone trying to make a side hustle, not somebody getting rid of what's in their garage. A huge business. Imagine selling almost 200,000 items yourself. It's very obvious that I got scammed. It's like so glaringly obvious that I'm fully comfortable saying this is the eBay seller that scammed me. Little Big Finds with an annoyingly high amount of positive feedback, but we'll get into that. First off, thank you to the sheer amount of members that have joined recently. Just like, this is just all the members. Thank you guys so much. Let's get into it. And I think it's best to start out at the original intro where I didn't know I got scammed yet. An expensive iPod object from 2007. This hunk of device cost $350, making it $548 in 2025 money. Still not enough for some Apple wheels. It is by Harman Kardon. It still make devices much like this, and it is for the iPod. It's actually pretty heavy, and the box is pretty large, and I didn't even know I was going to get the box when I ordered this. Those were the eBay pictures. That's the listing description, and I was pleasantly surprised when it showed up with the original box, which I didn't know. But hey, that is what you call more content. And it is in fact in the Made for iPod program. But yeah, this speaker is going to be big. And if it was a good speaker to begin with, it'll still be good, hopefully. Before I open it, I'll mention that I'm a little bit concerned. Derek right there apparently purchased this in August 2025 from the same eBay seller I bought it from, and I don't know what happened with that. When I took my shipping label off, I noticed there was another one underneath. Don't know if that's a good sign or not. No indication in the listing that it has anything wrong with it, so if it does, I'll be not happy. So let's see what one of the highest end iPod docks ever made is like. They certainly tape this box up a lot. There it goes. It opens, and that's a better look at what it's going to be. This iPod dock being $500 inflation adjusted pales in comparison to the iPod dock I bought for my 100,000 subscriber video. Totally isn't a year late. It isn't a year late because it's more than a year late. I'm sorry, guys. It'll happen. Definitely looking like some factory packaging in here, I tell you what. Wow, that is cold, and that's a metal handle. It's like a handle for a public stairway or something. The aroma of stale packaging. The pictures made me think this thing looked pretty mint. It better be. That is not a light speaker, which is a good sign. And seeing as this is from an actual reputable brand, it's not going to be full of lead. Some cheap, terrible speakers are full of lead to make them seem premium. Or concrete. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, that's the power supply. So there's supposed to be a remote. Stainless steel handle. We knew that. Compatible with all docking variations of iPod. It's battery powered with these, eight of the big D's. So that's the box out of the way. It is heavy enough that it has handles. All the shipping labels said 14 pounds. I don't know if you can tell just how big this box is. It might actually be real sized. No, it's not. But the box is big enough. They could have made it real sized. Dual subwoofer and tweeter. We shall see. So the power supply and the device. Okay, right away. Unfortunately, it looks like the rubber things that originally went over these two ports were ripped off. That's the battery compartment down there, which unscrews. There's 3 feet. Honestly, the feet remind me of the bottom of chairs. That is honestly what they look like. Those are the volume buttons, up and down. It's a bit of a weird stain on that speaker. Oh. It does not have the remote? They didn't say that. So that's where the remote would be. $550 iPod docking speaker. Well, at least it's a good sign when I do this. There's no sound. There's your 30-pin dock for the iPods. This device is from the year of the iPhone. This is the original iPhone, but there's no mention of it on the box from what I can tell. So this thing was from the year of the iPhone, but it predates it, apparently. You can get a sense of how big it is. It's pretty darn enormous. $350 US for this. It is definitely the heaviest, quotation marks, portable speaker I've ever held, especially for the compact size. I think this thing's supposed to weigh 8 pounds. Okay, we got this second generation iPod Touch from 2008. May not be compatible with it. It might not work. I might have to whip out one of the older iPods. YouTube audio library. Let's see. Can I insert the iPod? The dock does pivot. I don't know if there's a way to lock it in. Dangly iPod. Okay, so this is the front. Is that a scratch? Oh, come on. Was that in the pictures? I don't think it was. I thought this was meant. Okay, power supply. Power. They wrapped this plug up. At least it came with a power adapter. This thing better not blow my eardrums out. Okay, it's not standing straight. I think that's my table. It has all of the feet. Yeah, my table, it's kind of like doing this a bit in the middle. Not quite that extreme. I think that's what the problem is. It does know that it's connected to something. Press the power button now. Oh, it lit up. It's green. Can you tell? Oh, I hear a buzzing. Oh, that's not good. $350 speaker shouldn't buzz when it's not playing anything. I keep spamming the volume down button. It's all the way down. Press play on the iPod. Is that the song? I don't know these songs very well. I gotta play a real song for me. There might be something wrong with this. They didn't mention that. If so, I'm getting my freaking money back. Oh yes, one of the speakers is blown. Trying to listen to some Tom Petty, and this guy is rattly diddly doodly doddly. And I'm just trying to make a YouTube video here and not have things go wrong. Yeah, it sounds absolutely effing awful. However, it does sound like it has the potential to be good. Like it started out as being good, and something happened to make it sound like dog crap. I bought a piece of crap. Does banging it do anything? Man, this thing is solidly made. Holy crap. I'm just banging on it and it hurts. It's hurting me. Something changed. Oh, it started again. Here's a song that makes it sound really bad. Turns out you may not be able to trust eBay sellers with 194,000 items sold and mostly positive feedback. So what happens next? I don't know. I'll have to wait. It gets even worse because this was a scam from the start. The seller that sold this to me, Little Big Finds, and I'm mentioning their name because this was a clear scam. Even though they have a huge presence on eBay, about 195,000 items sold, this was guaranteed to have been a scam, and I'll lay that out right now. Even the silly eBay seller that stuck this "thank you for supporting my small business" sticker on the iPhone 4 dock probably wasn't being malicious. They were just stupid. Sometimes things like that happen. And obviously you're usually able to smell a scam by reading the description and looking at feedback, but 97% positive feedback usually means good. And also, such a huge eBay seller normally means good. So I didn't buy an obvious scam. Why would I think that an eBay seller with almost 200,000 items sold, why would I suspect them of being fraudulent? I wouldn't. It's so obvious looking at it now because I'm able to dig in having knowledge of it being faulty that it's kind of crazy that the seller is just blatantly doing this. So my first inkling of potential foul play was that when I took my shipping label off before filming, because doxing myself would be bad, I noticed a shipping label underneath it. So I took care to not damage it while taking mine off to see what it was, out of curiosity. I at first thought maybe this was the original purchaser's shipping label, and maybe I could talk about that. That would be pretty cool. But then I noticed the name of the eBay seller as the one shipping it out, and it being addressed to someone other than me. Didn't think too much of it at the time, thought it was a bit weird, but sometimes things happen on eBay. Obviously, I got it out, tested it. We saw where that went. The blown speaker. It sounds terrible. And listening back to it, it sounds way worse in person than it could possibly be on video, even though I was recording it with a shotgun microphone directly pointed at it. You don't need an iPod to test it. You need literally anything that can output through a headphone jack. Not just the fact that it's so easily tested, it's the fact that I know for a fact they sold it knowing it was faulty. I actually reached out to eBay, wading through the AI slop. Oh my god, side note, but it took me a good 20 minutes of circular support menu clicking where the thing it takes you to tells you to go to the other place you just came from to get support. I'm not even talking about talking to the AI bot. That's terrible too. But anyway, once I was able to get through to a person and told them my issue, I brought up the fact that it appeared to me, looking at sold items on the eBay seller store, that they sold this item twice, because the two listings, quite a while apart, had the exact same pictures. And I asked the support representative if that item was returned, and he said it was returned with the same issue, a speaker being blown. So the guy that purchased this before me returned it because the speaker was blown, and then the seller with almost 200,000 items sold relisted it, didn't mention that the speaker was blown, even though they knew. So it's not a mistake. What I did was I messaged the seller saying, hey, what are the next steps? My item is faulty. And then they shot back at me, okay, we'll give you a refund. And notice how they replied back to me in less than 3 hours. I actually was surprised that they got back to me so soon, as it was 9 p.m. on a Saturday night. They told me it sounds like this unit wasn't properly tested before being listed. And I completely understand your frustration. They wanted me to submit a return request, and they give me a prepaid return label so it can be resolved as quickly as possible. And I replied back to that with a paragraph calling them out on their BS. I even cited an example from their negative feedback, one of more examples than I could possibly count. I didn't hold back, and I wasn't going to leave them room for excuses. And what did they reply back to me with? They didn't. To this day, I have been ghosted. I gave them 4 days to reply before bringing eBay in on the issue. And the reason I was skeptical with going through a return request through them, and why I typed up that paragraph, was because when they replied to me with a seemingly copy-paste answer, I immediately got suspicious. This was highly unusual. That was my initial impression. So I looked at their negative feedback, and immediately there was a bunch of examples of people saying I sent it back, but they didn't fully refund me. So given that, I was definitely not going to send this back to them. I'm not such a big deal here on YouTube that having 74 of my dollars evaporate is okay. It's never okay, but that's kind of a lot of money to put into a video to have it actually just disappear. Patreon, excuse me, didn't fully disclose damage, and they didn't issue a full refund. They lied about the item's condition, and they only gave him a partial refund, only a half refund. This guy got half of his money back, and he bought something for $150. Ouch. Incorrect description, and the seller didn't give him all of his money back. Another one where they refused to give him all of his money. The seller sent out the wrong item and only gave him a 50% refund. But that's when he had already returned it. I recorded for almost a half an hour just reading the negative feedback, all exactly like this. All of them were after they had returned the item, they only got half of their money back. I didn't even reach the end. I just got tired of talking. The seller was very reluctant to work with me and only gave me a partial refund. A partial refund of $540. Now we'll analyze the one message they sent to me, knowing what I know now. They said that the unit wasn't properly tested. No, they already sold it before. The guy returned it because it was faulty, and they relisted it again and sold it to me. And they're telling me that it wasn't properly tested. Now, normally, I wouldn't be able to prove that this was the exact same item being sold, even though there's 2 identical sold listings a few months apart on their store. But I have the actual shipping label from the previous purchaser on the box that I got, and the support representative from eBay told me the other item was returned for the same issue. Normally, information I would not have access to, and that's just completely wild. And the fact that I called them out on this, and they did not reply back at all. Especially damning because they replied within 3 hours on a Saturday night, eager for me to return the item. And most likely, judging by the negative feedback, if I hadn't have had eBay initiate the return and I'd done it through them instead, they most likely would have only given me half of my money back. This particular negative feedback sounds super familiar. They scammed me and then proceeded to relist the item in full working order, almost like what they did to Derek. And then they sold it to me. And no, it's not that Derek. The last names are different. If they weren't doing this on a regular basis, there wouldn't be this much negative feedback saying the same thing. And that brings up another very important question. How is it that they possibly have such a high percentage of positive feedback? Are they paying people to leave positive feedback? No, not that I can prove. It's actually something way worse than that. And it was today I learned that eBay has automatic positive feedback for sellers. So as a buyer, you just leave feedback automatically. Look at this. Order delivered on time with no issues, eBay automated feedback, and I'm sorting by recent on their feedback, and it's almost all this fake, not even actually real positive feedback that's just automatic. Nothing to do with the seller in particular. It's just something that eBay did that seems pretty silly, and in my opinion, it just inflates the positive to negative ratio of a seller like this. Allow me to read from eBay's own support page. This is a real feature. I'm not making this up, even though it sounds like I am. eBay automated feedback is automatically added to the seller's account when a transaction is successfully completed. This positive feedback gives other eBay users confidence in the seller and our marketplace. So given the criteria, if you buy something, it's automatically going to give the seller positive feedback in 7 days. Sure, you can still leave your own feedback within 60 days of delivery, but if the item was delivered in the first place, it's automatically going to be positive. Surely there's no way for any seller to take advantage of this to overinflate the positive feedback by simply delivering a bunch of things. So now I'll rephrase what eBay said like I'm a person living on Earth. This positive feedback gives other eBay users false confidence in the seller. Oh, just like what happened to me. Yes, you can hide the automated feedback when browsing on a seller's page, but despite that, it still counts towards the positive to negative ratio, and that is simply ridiculous. So 97.4%. So is this an example of like on Amazon when something has 4.5 stars, it is automatically terrible because everyone just leaves a 5-star feedback by default because they're idiots? Or what? I mean, yes, they can change the feedback from positive to negative, but don't you agree that automatic positive feedback makes no sense? How does that improve the experience for a buyer on eBay? And what does this feedback tangent have to do with anything? Well, subscribe to my channel, and guys, it has everything to do with this particular interaction. It looks to me that if all this eBay automated positive feedback was not a thing, the seller would have a much lower positive feedback ratio, most likely being so low that I would never have considered purchasing from this seller to begin with. Guys, it's a feature, not a bug, in shitification at its finest. I had to have eBay step in to get a refund. I am going to go drive to the post office now to return this for a full refund, no cost to me. The only cost being, I guess I got 2 videos out of that device instead of 1 because I bought another one, and that'll be a future video instead of this video. And I don't have it yet. I just literally purchased it like 20 minutes ago, okay? So get subscribed for that. That video will be coming. You know it'll be coming because it was supposed to be this video, but it wasn't. Refund went through successfully. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe or you're bad, and drop a like on this video. Not automatically, because that would be crazy. And also join the channel on YouTube or Patreon, because I'm going to take a look at my other scam I bought. And I bought a Mac Pro trash can. Again, a big thanks to my supporters, and the supporter of the week this week, $10 supporter. Thank you so much. See you guys next week for another video.